Hey guys, what the fuck is up, you guys? My name is eManDan642, and welcome to the first of the current two Star Wars spin-offs, Rogue One. This movie I haven't seen in a few years. I watched it in theaters when it came out initially, and again a year or two later, but that was it. So it was pretty refreshing to see this movie again, and to my surprise, I liked this movie a lot more than I thought I would have. I thought it was good when I first watched it, but I never thought of it as much more. I was quite surprised to enjoy the movie as much as I did rewatching it. Of course it has its flaws, plenty of them, but it's a pretty solid film that mostly stands on its own from the other films. I'll even go as far to say this is the best Star Wars film since the original trilogy. I mean, not by much, but still. I thought Revenge of the Sith was the best, but that was before I rewatched this one. I wouldn't say this movie is that much better than Revenge, but it is. Rogue One is the story of the rebellion stealing the Death Star plans. When I first heard there was going to be a Star Wars spin-off, I was a little wary and assumed they were making it just for money. And well, that is the main goal, but this movie was actually made well. I mean, this movie came out like 4 years ago. I don't care how good the new Star Wars material will be. Disney is milking Star Wars dry at this point, and it's all for money. A movie based on how the Death Star plans were stolen is, in my opinion, the perfect idea for the first Star Wars spin-off. There are tons of stories in the Star Wars universe to make spin-offs off of, but the event that directly caused the first Star Wars movie is the perfect idea. This movie is odd because some aspects of the movie are really fucking amazing, and at the same time there are other aspects that are absolutely terrible. There are parts of the movie that are engaging and keep you hooked the entire time, and there are parts that are so unbearably boring. Okay, maybe that's a bit harsh, but still. Like I said, this movie is a standalone movie. I do like how this is a movie that ties into the next film, but you don't need to watch A New Hope to understand this film. I do wish that Rogue One better explain the events leading up to the story, because the movie expects you to have some prior knowledge of A New Hope to understand this one. I just wish the movie explained the situation. It could have just been Empire controlling galaxy, Empire bad, Rebellion try and stop Empire, Empire building big Chungus plan destroy weapon. Not that hard. Solo was a film that you didn't need any prior knowledge to understand. All you need to know about was Han Solo and Chewbacca and I guess Lando. But everyone knows who Han and Chewie are, even non-Star Wars fans. Plus, now there's The Mandalorian. That show is huge and it's not based off of any prior Star Wars events. Also, there's a lot of dumb, pointless fan service in this movie. It gets worse in episode 9, way worse, but it's still annoying here. Also, we have the fucking zombie Tarkin in this movie. I have no issue with him being in the movie. He is a very powerful and important man at this time, so him showing up is not an issue. But the issue is with the movie having the animated Tarkin face made to look identical to how he looked in A New Hope. The movie couldn't have just got a lookalike actor instead? There was no point in this aside from the fan service. I mean, he doesn't look terrible, just really weird and off. When surrounded by others, he looks jarring and out of place. But I will say this movie looks great. Visually, it looks amazing. The movie's beautiful. By far the worst thing about the movie is the characters. I wouldn't say they are the worst characters in Star Wars. I'd say many of the sequel characters are the worst. But saying they are the worst requires me to actually remember them. The characters in Rogue One are some of the most forgettable characters I have ever witnessed. Aside from Jyn Erso, I couldn't name a single character before rewatching this movie. And not a single character in the movie I could really say much about because they are the flattest and least interesting characters in Star Wars. The character Badi Rook, I completely forgot existed. Even when rewatching the movie, I drew a blank. I'd say, Chirrut Imwe? I'd say Chirrut Imwe is a good concept for a character. I actually remembered him, As a character, he's forgettable and uninteresting, but the idea of this blind monk that is so in tune with the Force that he has this sixth sense that replaces his sight is so fucking cool. He is not a Jedi, just a follower of the Force. That's about it for good things to say about the characters. They all suck. Okay, I'm going to spoil the movie right here because it's important to the review. So just go watch the movie or just go to the timestamp for my final thoughts. In the end, all the characters die. All of them. I'll say the deaths are quite impactful and shocking, but that's because we really see the stakes here and the brutality of war, not because we care about the characters. I'll go more in depth on the deaths when we reach it, but my point is, if we are supposed to be so impacted by the characters' deaths, we need better and more memorable characters. What makes this even worse is there are a ton of characters, and not a single one of them is good. Jyn goes from not caring at all about the rebellion, then immediately willing to risk her life for them. Cassian Andor is someone. He's supposed to be the main character besides Jyn, and he has no personality traits. The main thing I really love about this film is the war aspect. So, Star Wars, from the beginning, is about wars in space, but we've never really seen the war at its finest. But in this movie, we see how terrible it really is. The Empire seems like a real threat. The third fucking act is so good. It's so brutal. In this movie, we see what the prequels and the Clone Wars led up to, and what results in the original trilogy. I will talk more in depth about the last act when we reach there. Aside from the third act, the rest of the movie has some good scenes, but not many. So this film starts with research scientist Galen Erso and his family hiding. He is kidnapped by the Empire and is forced to complete the Death Star. His wife is killed and his daughter Jyn Erso escapes. She is saved and raised by rebel Saw Gerrera. The story of the movie is another thing I really don't care for. It's not bad, it's just really uninteresting. I really don't care about what happens to Jyn and her father. The movie just doesn't keep you invested. 15 years later, Imperial pilot Badi Rook defects from the Empire and takes a holographic message from Galen to Saw Gerrera. We meet Cassian Andor, who learns about the Death Star from a mining colony agent. Like I said, Andor is not that great of a character. I would say I like how he just kills the agent after getting the information he needs. It's not that much, but it's something. But of course, it's not expanded upon at all. Cassian finds and frees Jyn from an Imperial labor camp. I really like the idea of an Imperial labor camp existing. Obviously, it's horrendous and inhumane, but it shows how bad the Empire truly is, even though we don't see the camp at all. Cassian takes Jyn back to the rebel base, where they are tasked with rescuing Galen and finding out information about the Death Star. So they, along with the reprogrammed Imperial droid K2SO, travel to Jedi. K2SO is not a great character either. He is an actual character, unlike BB-8, but he's not good. It's just, ooh, sassy robot. On Jedha, the Empire are extracting kyber crystals to power the Death Star. They meet with Gerrera, who has Rook captive. Gerrera shows Jyn the message. It reveals that Galen built a secret vulnerability in the Death Star and gives information on where to find the Death Star plans. The Empire fires a test shot and destroys the city. Everyone escapes except Gerrera, who just kinda dies there. I mean, I don't know why he didn't just join the others and get on the ship. His death was stupid and pointless. They go to the Imperial Research Facility and the rebels come and destroy the place. Galen dies, and like I said earlier, Jyn suddenly cares about the war. Galen's death is not very sad or moving. I don't like how it's written to the plot. The gang escapes, and at the rebel base, Jyn proposes they infiltrate the Imperial facility and steal the plans, but the Council are against it due to how powerful the Empire is. So Cassian gathers a small squad of volunteers, and they travel to Scarif. This is the awaited third act of the movie. Here, we see this amazing battle. Everyone plays a part, and it's all worth it. Cassian, Jyn, and K2SO infiltrate the base, and the rest of the squad causes a distraction on the beach outside. Like I said earlier, all the characters' deaths were so impactful, knowing their impact on the war and the following events. Each character dies nobly, and I really like that. Jyn retrieves the plans, and after destroying the shields, she sends them to the rebel command ship. The Empire shoots another shot at the base and kills Jyn and Cassian and everyone else in it. I like how they don't kiss at the end. It's not like it matters at all, but I like how they just don't. Just because they are male and female doesn't mean they have to kiss in the end. They just savor their last moment alive, and it's actually quite impactful. Them accepting their death is impactful, not the characters' deaths themselves. A Star Destroyer appears, the one that Darth Vader is currently on. So here's the thing with Vader. I really wish that he wasn't in any of the other scenes except the ending. He didn't serve much of a purpose in the few other scenes he was in. They showed him off in trailers like he was going to be important, but he really wasn't. Vader boards the Rebel command ship, and this scene is amazing. By far the best scene in the movie. Think of how cool it would have been if we didn't see Vader at all, and for him to appear out of nowhere in this scene. That would be so fucking cool. Well, this scene is still amazing. Vader is killing people left and right, and all the rebels are running for their fucking lives. It shows Vader as the powerhouse that he's always meant to be. It's a perfect representation of what Vader is supposed to be and acts as the perfect ending to this movie, lining it up perfectly with A New Hope. There is one problem with the ending to this movie. Leia. Leia is in the last scene for 10 seconds? The problem is not her. They did the same thing they did with Tarkin to her. They got this animated zombie face. I mean, she was in the movie for fucking 10 seconds. Why couldn't they just get a lookalike actor? It's so pointless and dumb. But sadly, it's not the last time Disney will take advantage of Leia and Carrie Fisher. Rest in peace to a legend, Carrie Fisher. So that was Rogue One. I'm sorry this was a bit of a shorter video. There's not a whole lot to say about this film except war good, characters bad. The third act of this movie was fantastic. It was superb. It was amazing. But the rest was just okay. The characters were bad and forgettable. The story was boring and uninteresting. And besides the third act, the rest of the film was very forgettable. I'm going to give Rogue One, a Star Wars story, a 7 out of 10. This movie is pretty good, but after you've seen it, I'd probably not watch the movie that often, except the third act. That third act brings the movie up from being mediocre to pretty good. Well, guys, this is it. My next movie is The Last Jedi. I am truly sorry for what you're going to have to witness. You have been warned. Just be ready for that review. This has been Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Fuck you.